Hi, I'm Senator Tom Harkin, and I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts with you today by this video. Let me first extend greetings to a number of people. First, Dr. John Chida, the Director of National Institute on Disability, Independent Living, Research, and Rehabilitation, which is moving to its new home, by the way, in the Administration on Community Living in the Department of Health and Human Services. Also, Pimjay Sudsawad, the Knowledge Translation Program Coordinator, Janet Lebrecht, the Commissioner of the Rehabilitative Services Administration in the Department of Education. As many of you know, Congress recently passed the Workforce Investment and Opportunity Act, which I'd worked on for 5 years as chairman, and we passed it with overwhelming bipartisan support. The vote in the Senate was 95-3, and in the House the vote was 415-6. President Obama signed the bill into law in July. Embedded within this new law is a set of amendments to the Rehabilitation Act that will greatly improve opportunities for people with disabilities to obtain and retain employment in competitive, integrated settings. Many of those amendments focus on young people with disabilities. The aim is to help them get the experience, develop the skills, and obtain the supports they need in competitive, integrated work settings as they transition from school to work. As you know very well, the workforce participation rate of people with disabilities is shamefully low. For some group of people with disabilities, such as those with intellectual disabilities, workforce participation rates hover in the mid-teens. Now, this is completely unacceptable. So we must look to practices to address this problem. Now, as a group that focuses on evidence-based knowledge and putting that knowledge into practice, you will see that we closely examine the evidence about what works to increase employment. One of the lessons we took from the research literature is that experience and practice in real settings is critically important. So one of the new requirements in this law is that young people with disabilities must receive pre-employment transition services that include practice in soft skills development, opportunities for internships, and job coaches to help them navigate through the world of work. We also recognized that it was important to address not only the skills, knowledge, and experience of potential employees, but also to determine the needs of retailers, manufacturers, and other businesses in order to match potential employees to employers. So we charged the Department of Labor with directly addressing the persistent problem of low workforce participation of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in competitive integrated employment. Finally, you will note that in many places in this bill, we require the departments to focus on increasing the supports and services that enable people with disabilities to live independent lives. Independent living, as you know, is one of the 4 core goals of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it's important that your work is focused on making that goal a reality. The next step in addressing the employment challenges for people with disabilities is by ensuring that regulations developed around the new amendments for the Rehabilitation Act are grounded in evidence-based research. I urge all of you, through your work with the Knowledge Translation for Employment Research, and also with NIDLR and RSA grantees, to share your experience with the Departments of Labor, Education, and Health and Human Services as they draft these regulations. High-quality research can help inform how we increase employment for people with disabilities. That makes the work of NIDLR and KTER Center vitally important. So thank you for continuing this important work. Thank you for all you're doing to make the goals of the ADA a reality for all Americans. So I wish you a successful conference and by all means a safe trip home afterward.